Hi guys, it's Fay here from fayjohnstone.com. Really great to see you on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. And I've just been really thinking about rewilding and coming back to our true sense of self. As you know, this is kind of my theme, and I write about it in my book Plants That Speak, Souls That Sing. And I just feel that at the moment we've all been in this lockdown quarantine. We've all been stuck inside those four walls, so more than ever I think there will be this real longing within us that wants to break out and seek fresh air and get in touch with the wildness of nature. So I just wanted to speak today about kind of rewilding, what that process might mean and why it's good for us. So for me, what I noticed growing up actually is that I had a childhood where I was able to run around barefoot in the back garden and enjoy lots of time in nature. And what I realized as I reflected on this growing up, I gradually kind of let that part of me go. And, instead of just running around outside with no cares in the world, I became really trapped, if you like, in the more kind of adult world of being inside and, wearing shoes and getting caught up with, getting on the streams of academia and success and all that kind of stuff. And I really, that nature side of myself, the side, that wild child inside, did not run around in the back garden anymore. Didn't go and smell the roses, didn't run around, with really messy hair and not minding whether she's got mud on her shoes or on her skirt or things like that. And I realised that this is a theme for many of the people that I know, and it might be a theme for you as well. That child inside actually still wants to run around and have fun, make mud pies, climb trees, smell the roses, run wild and scream out in the woods. And yet we don't do this because most of us live urban lives where we are in cities. We have adult responsibilities, looking after our children, maybe going to work every day. We've conveniently made lives for ourselves in these square walls with a lovely square window and a square wall. And we have these barriers that have been put up between us and the lovely wildness of nature, this lovely dance which happens outside our window. And I just wonder, I know some of you are watching, I just wonder if you're like me, and I have a real longing whenever I'm stuck inside on a lovely kind of warm summer's day. I just have a longing to be outside, connecting with nature and playing and feeling the wind on my skin or the sun warming my skin, or even sometimes, that blessing that you get from walking in the rain. And this, for me, things like this really speak to that wildness inside of me. And it's actually the truth of me as a being of nature, as someone born of this earth, made up of all those elements that make up everything around us. We have this elemental nature, and I feel that what happens as we grow up, if there was a part of us as a child that was running around with flowers in our hair, we just lose that as we grow up and take on, become adults. And so I just really wanted to encourage you, and I feel that especially because we're going through the coronavirus lockdown period, I just feel that there are many of us, and if you are one of them, then I just wanted to cheer you on to just find a way to get in touch with that wildness, that's part of you that really wants to be out in nature and honour that inner child that wants to go and smell the roses, go and touch the trees. I find it really hard I'm just looking up there, some trees, sort of longing to touch them. I'm a really touchy person, and I love to just simply touch a tree, touch the texture of its bark, its leaves. And even, we're getting, I live in Scotland, but it's the time of year now where it's almost warm enough to go barefoot And I can see some hearts there. So I know that some of you are agreeing with me. And I really think it's time that and I think this lockdown period has made a lot of us realise that disconnection that we do have, because obviously we've been having this enforced sort of shut inside these four walls, and we're realising, oh wow, actually this is what my life is when I take away my work and my day to day. Actually, it's these four walls. And so what we can do, if we can't get out into nature, what we can do at least is we can honour nature by bringing the outside in. And I'm really lucky. I have the seashore here on one side, and I have my garden here, so I'm always able to find the little objects in nature, like the seashells or a pebble or a beautiful flower or a leaf which calls to me, and I can bring these inside to bring aspects of wildness into my life. And also, you know, what I notice about our food is it's very prepackaged. It's very everything's very sanitized, isn't it? You know, you think of French fries compared to potatoes, which are dug up from the soil and covered in mud. And you know, so for me, rewilding is also remembering our food, and getting in touch, but being able to buy local, being able to maybe grow some of your own, even if it's like a pot where you can grow tomatoes or some of your own herbs. Just remembering that kind of nature connection and that wildness in you, and honouring and finding a way to just bring that connection into your life, because we have become very sanitized. We have a very kind of clean life, if you like. Many of us don't get our hands dirty anymore. And, you know, this is, you know, we're obsessed with sort of cleanliness, and we do our washing, you know, 100 times a week and things like that. And we're not really getting in touch with the sun on our face, or just elements of nature have become so disconnected from our way of living. And I really want to encourage you to find a way to bring that wildness in. Think about the things you used to love doing as a child, if you loved being in nature. Anna's just commenting here that she feels embarrassed that her neighbours are looking at her talking to trees and plants. I know exactly what you mean, Anna. I used to think the same when we lived in our little flat and we had a garden that backed onto, you know, all 4 other gardens. I used to think that my neighbours must think I was bonkers, because I would be barefoot and I would sing and I would beat my drum, and I would just have a big party out there with myself and the plants. And really that was just me honouring that part of me that wants to be outside and be connected to nature. And so, yeah, we can do it through our food. We can do it by bringing elements of the outdoors in. We can do it through honouring all those parts of nature that inspire us, through lovely botanical pictures and images. I know my phone is full of like 101 billion pictures of plants or sunsets or amazing flowers that I've seen. And that's a way of remembering the wildness, okay? And just honouring that, just thinking about, what did I used to do as a child out in nature that I don't do as an adult anymore? And just finding a way that you can incorporate that. And if you've got kids, it's brilliant to take kids out to the woods or to the park or just in your back garden and ask them to show you their favourite places and their favourite plants and their favourite trees, because children are just amazing at connecting in that way. And without, you know, like Anna was saying, she feels a bit silly, she feels a bit embarrassed because neighbours might be watching. And children don't have that, they don't care. And they, you know, how many times does your child come back with really muddy, they've been splishing in the, you know, the puddles and things. I mean, when was the last time you did that? It's something that we just don't do anymore as adults. And I just wanted to encourage you, it's so good to get in touch with that wildness inside of you, to just, you know, step outside of that box, particularly if you work in a very corporate environment. And we spend a lot of time on our screens at the moment, and I know that drives me nuts. And so that's why I need to always come outside and re-ground myself in nature, remember who I am actually. I'm not a person who was born to look at screens and understand how the technology works. I'm actually a person who is alive and breathing and connected to the elements. Inside of me, inside of you, is water, is air, is fire, is all of the elements, and earth, and this lovely ether, the mystery of life. And so just rewilding is really all about finding your rhythm, the rhythm of nature that lives within you. I'll maybe come on, I'm going on a bit now, but maybe tomorrow I can come on and talk about seasons and cycles, because this is how we find our rhythm in nature, and we can look to nature for those rhythms, for those seasons and cycles, because when we're always trying to be at the top of our game, we just can't compete in that way, and that's when we burn out. So rewilding is this process of really coming back into harmony with who you really are. And for like I've said, for many of us, we've got to remember what we used to do as children, what used to light us up before some social conditioning, some expectation, or all these other weird and wonderful experiences we have throughout our lives that throw us off track. Before all of those happened, Anna's just saying, one of your neighbours once asked you what you were doing at that bush, and you were like, oh, I was having a chat. Well, yeah, we just have to admit that, don't we? And I think it's cool. I think more and more people are admitting that hugging trees is good for us, and trees are sentient beings. So I'm encouraging you to get out and do that. Michelle is saying, my neighbours catch me acting oddly, always connected to nature. Well, continue that, Michelle. And I just think the more we keep doing this, and being odd, getting out there, hugging trees, looking after our environment, recognizing how good it is, not just for as a physical backdrop, which is gorgeous and that makes us lovely, clean oxygen and gives us something lovely to look at that's inspirational, but also for our physical health and our mental well-being, remembering this nature connection, finding the wild inside of you that's been a little bit contained, and, you know, going out. And one of the things I love to do is I love to go and just talk to trees and tell them what I've been doing with my day, because it really helps to, it feels like I'm being listened to, I'm being witnessed by an amazing being that's been alive for many, many years. And also it gets it out of me, rather than bottled up inside of me. And then I find what happens when I'm out in nature a lot is I just start to sing. And for me, that's just the most joyful thing. And that's obviously something that as a child, I used to do a lot in nature too. And obviously, you know, the adult in me says, I don't know how to sing, I can't sing, and all that sort of stuff. But when I'm out in nature, I just step through that portal and I just forget that. And I go, you know what, it's fine. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to be in alignment with who I am. So I hope I persuaded you a little bit. I'm just trying to look at some other comments here. Cool. I think I've covered everybody in the comments. It's so lovely to see many of you. But yeah, don't be embarrassed. I know it's really normal. And I know we have those voices inside us that are our little critical self that says, oh, you're being stupid. This is silly. People are looking at you. But, you know, let them look, because really, I think most people are looking and they're actually sometimes a bit envious that you are going ahead and hugging that tree and giving that tree some love, or that you are walking around barefoot, because that's really what the wildness in all of us longs to do. And just thinking about, when was the last time you really got dirt on your hands? When was the last time you felt the wind and the rain on your face? Just finding those elemental, just taking a moment to really connect with those elements, because we are living a very sanitized life, which is very, very far removed from that of our ancestors. And it's really far removed from the intelligence of nature that is around us, that has this amazing wisdom to share for us. And the more that we stay disconnected, and when we're disconnected, when we feel separate, we just don't care for our environment. And I know if you're still watching, I know that you do care for the environment, that you do appreciate it, that you do love it. You want a beautiful environment to be left for your children and your grandchildren and all your descendants. And that's what we want. And if we can step into that space of connection, if we can start appreciating it, and encourage others to do so, then it basically brings meaning to our environment, that it's not just a pretty backdrop. It's not just something nice for me to go and sit in on my lunch break. It's actually something that's so much deeper than that, and has such a super duper wisdom for us. Anyway, thank you, Anna. Thank you for saying thank you. And thank you, Michelle. It's so nice to see you all. As you know, I'm having, or you might not know, but I'm holding a mindfulness in nature, in mindfulness in your garden workshop on Saturday. So if you're able to come to that, then do. It's a couple of hours of us tuning in and chilling out and relaxing in. I'll be in my garden, and you can be in a park or a woodland or at a beach or on your back terrace or a balcony. Whatever speaks to you, whatever is available to you, and it'll just be an opportunity to relax and connect and be held and really step out of whatever anxiety you're holding at the moment and be in a place of awareness, and coming into that awareness with fresh eyes, connecting to nature. Because once you step into that place, you start to really reconnect and bridge that distance that has crept up upon you since you were younger. Okay, and that's, just consider that. Just think about how has your relationship changed since you were tiny as to how it is now, and when was the last time you did some of those things that you used to do as a child, and start to just bring those back in. Okay, take care everybody. Bye.